Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today it is time for my annual Asian recommendations video, which I've now done 2 years in a row, where I basically just recommend all the Asian books I read since the last Asian recommendations video. In a way, some added that I read before that I didn't have physical copies, etc. Kinda an owner of Asian Readathon, which happens in May and is hosted by with Cindy, but also just for funsies because I think it's fun to have like not a compendium but like some YouTube videos on my channel where like I just talk about loads of Asian books in different genres, etc. The rules for these, not that they're rules, but if we had some, is that they're all books I have personally read. Obviously, I am just one tiny person, so there's so many Asian books I haven't read that are from many authors. Most of mine are like in English, some are translated, but most of them are in English. There's a whole world out there that I haven't read and experienced. Some that I didn't love as much as the others, but I don't really talk about my thoughts in this one. It's more just here's recommendations, pick up what sounds good for you. I can still recommend these, even though like I personally like gave it 3 stars, but it's still like a book I would recommend. It's not all the Asian books I read. I have chosen to like not have some in here that I didn't personally enjoy so much or I don't want to recommend. So like take that as you will. There's also not a lot of like manga and stuff because I have other videos for that. There is one graphic novel in this one, but in the other ones, there were some other ones that I felt like I could recommend outside of like... And yes, since I'm only one person, there's not like a lot in each genre. It differs from every year how much is in each genre, which I think is a bit funny. I watched back on my other videos to like remember what I talked about in those. And I think it's funny to reflect upon like, what have I read more or less of in the other videos, you know? But in the first one, it was kind of like to catch up all the things I read forever. That one will always be longer, I think. I feel like I've done badly lately to read Asian books. Even though there's more in this one than the one last year, I feel like I've been bad. I feel like I read a lot of it in May and I'm like, oh, I'm saving it for next May, which doesn't make sense, but I'm trying to do better. I was timestamped the genres, etc. Again, my thoughts and stuff of the books won't be in this video, just small synopsises. And I hope you enjoy another Asian recommendations video, which is really fun. Let's get through it. And another final rule is that if another book has been displayed here before, I'm not going to display them again. So for example, I really implore you to read the Green Boat Saga by Fonda Lee, but that was in my first video, so I'm not gonna have it again here. So if there's a book that you think about and it's like, oh, why isn't this video? It might be in one of my other videos. Oh, I just haven't read it yet. So yeah, leave your Asian recommendations down below if you have some for me, because I'm always on the lookout for those. And without further ado, let's go into our first genre, which is adult fantasy. First off of all of them, I feel like this is very fitting because it's now one of my favorite books of all time and it is amazing, stunning, perfect. So I feel like it fits really well to be first. I know I said I wasn't going to say my opinion, but I cannot help it when we have Babel by R.F. Kuang, which is a standalone that was released September last year, and it is set in the imperialistic England where they have taken Robin from China to work for the British Empire because language is power and is what gives silverworking in this world its uses, its power, because you need to translate and you need to know the language. So that's why they steal kids from other countries to use as their resources in their country to fuel their magic. And we have Robin who grows up to go to the Institute, Oxford, the Translation Institute of Babel, and he has supposed to be grateful because he was brought to this wonderful country and is supposed to work for them, but he realizes that maybe, just maybe, things that has been done to them and how it's been done is maybe not correct. So maybe he starts to question this, and it is just amazing. Amazing. And also I wasn't going to say my thoughts, but like one of the best books I ever read. I love it to pieces. And it felt very well that it was first of all the books here. And then we have The Book Eaters by Sun Ji Dean, and this one follows these eaters that eat books and survives on eating books. And then they get like their swords in the head. And there's this whole society of like how they grow up, etc. because they have troubles conceiving children. And we have one of our characters who can have children and how they are treated. We get flashbacks to how she grew up and how she was forced to have children, etc. A bit like Handmaid's Tale. And then we have like now the future of like how she has escaped, but we don't really know how she got there. That she has a child who's quite different from the other book eaters. And it's a very interesting world, etc. So that was a really bad description, but you get the point, kinda. We eat people, and she has escaped from this society that forced her to have children she didn't want. Great. Did I just say we eat people? I meant we eat books, but some of them might eat people. Guess you have to read a book to find out. Now this is kind of like a magical realism one, but I wasn't sure. I couldn't really put it in like normal fiction either because it has like this magical aspect. So I just put it into fantasy, adult fantasy, which is Lonely Castle in a Mirror by Mizuki Tsujimura. This one is translated from Japanese. It follows a young who stopped going to school because she was severely bullied, and then one day her mirror shimmers in her bedroom and she enters this magical castle where the point is to find this key to the wishing room and you can have any wish you want. There's also I think 7 altogether children in there and they all get this same mission, but also like connect in different ways for different reasons, and we're trying to ask ourselves like why they're there, and there's a lot about like friendship and mental health, etc. Really beautiful. I need to stop saying thoughts. I just cannot be helped apparently. Then we have another one which is kind of magical realism-ish, so I wasn't sure of where to put it. I think a lot of people would maybe just put it in fiction, but since it has these magical aspects to it, I'm putting it here to fantasy, which is A Tale for the Time Being by Victor Seki. And this one we have 2 timelines. So we have Ruth who lives on like these islands in, I think it's Canada, and then she finds this box where there's this journal that comes all the way from Japan. This is after the tsunami in 2011, where we follow this girl and how she lives in Tokyo and like her life, and these 2 paths connect somehow, but we don't really know how or why. And then we just like change between like this woman surviving in like this place where like the power goes out because it's like storms, etc. And then we fucked up on like this girl's life all the way over in Tokyo and how does they connect. So that was sadly all for the adult fantasy for this video. So now we are going into YA fantasy. First off, we have the Irie Key by Akshaya Raman. We follow these 4 siblings that are like from the royal family, and we follow all the point of views, and then they're supposed to find this key to like save the kingdom, etc. An Hour to the Moon by Emily X. R. Pan. This one is a Romeo and Juliet retelling, but like it's set in modern day, and it is based on Chinese mythology as well. So we follow these 2 kids that meets and like their parents hate each other, and magic is woven in. It's also kind of magical realism-ish, but still obviously counts as a fantasy. The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O. In this one we have this girl who puts herself up as a volunteer to marry the Sea King. He usually takes like the most beautiful girl in the village, but this time this girl was her brother's beloved. So she goes down to the kingdom underneath the sea and meets the king and maybe needs to break her curse, and it's based on Korean mythology. Now we have 2 by the same author that I finally picked up. First we have 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. This one is the first in a duology, and it's based on like the Swan Princess tale, whatever. I don't know what it's called. So we have a princess, and then all her brothers are cursed and turns into swans by day, and then this sorcerer took over the kingdom and she needs to break the curse. Goes out on this journey to do so. Really fun. Also by Elizabeth Lim we have Spin the Dawn, and this is also the first one in the duology. I have not read the sequels to either of them. Hopefully in May. And our main character is a tailor, so she enters this competition for the king to become the king's tailor, but she needs to pretend to be a man because no woman can enter this. And then there's this tailoring competition. Again, really fun. A Clash of Steel by C.B. Lee. This is a Treasure Island retelling with like an ancient setting. And we're on a ship. We're going after this treasure, obviously. And we have a main character like trying to prove to her mother that she can finally be like the merchant daughter she always wanted. Or something. I haven't actually never watched Treasure Island, but it was a fun ride. Winter Song by S.J. Jones. This is a labyrinth retelling. We have a main character whose sister disappears into a labyrinth and she needs to go and get her. And she's a musician. Yay. Last of the Talents by Sophie Kim. This is also a Korean myths inspired book. In this one we follow Shin Lina, who is trying to kill like the leader of all like the demons. The Dukkha Ebi as they're called. And she needs to kill him to win this bargain thing. She enters around there, and we should see if she's successful. Then we have Strike the Scyther by Duani. This one is based on Epic Three Kingdoms, and we follow the strategist to like kinda one of the leaders that is like working against the leaders in the country. God. And she gets captured, so she needs to strategize herself out of this situation, and it's really cool. Then we have another that is like magical realism-ish, but I'm still including it because it is a person who have powers, but it's also very contemporary. So it is If You Can See the Sun by Anne Liang. This one, our main character gets the ability to turn invisible. She goes to this very prestigious school that her parents doesn't really have a fortune anymore. So she uses this visibility power to like get jobs and like earn money, and it's really, really good. So really much recommend. There's also more stuff going on in that school, but I'm trying to make it short and concise, okay? And my dad is making so much noise. That was all the YA fantasy. So now we only have one middle grade fantasy because I haven't really read that much middle grade lately, but would love more recommendations. That was Go for Good and Evil by Saman Chainani. And this one is always set on a school where we have the good and the evil side, but I think this one really twists around the concept of what is good and evil. We have these two best friends that get sent to the school, and then we get to see what happens to them at the school. It's a lot about friendship and fairy tale retellings. Now we are to adult sci-fi, and this is the first year ever where we have more than one. So we actually have more than one. Impressed, surprised, mind blown. First off, we have The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez. This one, I think I just forgot to include in my last one. We're set on this planet where we have this ship coming over every so often to drop off like supplies, etc., and like trade, etc. And we have these people who live on this planet, and then one day this boy just is dropped off there, and he's then sent off with the next ship that comes in. And it's about his story of how like these people raised this boy and how he is special because of the different reasons in this universe. And it's just very beautiful and like a lot about like family and like love, really vast and big and truly amazing. So really want to reread it. Then we have Machine Hood by S.B. Divya. And in this world, a lot of people are just like trying to keep up with machines. So they take like a lot of drugs to like be as fast as like AI machines that basically are alive. And then there's this revolution that's working against them of how like humans have treated robots basically, and others off the wall in the world. That's a terrible description. Absolutely terrible. Light from the Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki. In this one, we have these people that actually come from outer space, and they open this donut shop. And then we have this lady who made a deal with the devil, who can live forever as long as she gives him project day musicians. Then we have a trans musician who ran away from home because it was unsafe, and she meets this lady who's like gonna teach her to do magic, but then she will be sacrificed, or you shall see. And all the stories they connect. So I guess it's kind of like a bit of fantasy because we have like the deal with the devil thing, and then a bit of sci-fi because we have aliens. But I'm putting it in the sci-fi. Now we have another one that's kind of like magical realism-ish, but it has time travel, so I'm putting it under sci-fi, which is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, which is translated from Japanese and is originally a Japanese theater play. In this one, we have this cafe that you can travel in time with if you sit in a certain seat, and you can only travel from that seat to another day in the cafe. You need to follow certain rules, and one of them is that you need to drink up the coffee before it gets cold. If you don't do this, certain things will happen. That's why it's called Before the Coffee Goes Cold. And we follow these different kind of short stories, but they're all interconnect somehow, of these different characters who uses this thing in this cafe to travel in time for different reasons. And it's really fun. Now, why sci-fi this time around was very thin because I only have one option. Clearly I just need to build up my sci-fi a lot in general because they are just awful every time, but it's fine. So obviously I have Iron Widow here by Shiran Jaishao. And this one follows a main character whose sister was used to like fuel these mechabots, and every time a woman goes in for the man in these mechabots, the woman dies because he sucks out all her power. So our main character is planning to go and volunteer herself to be partnered with a dude, but before she dies, she's planning to kill the dude who killed her sister. So it's kind of like a revenge plot thing. Absolutely amazing. Doesn't go where you think it will go at all, but truly a good ride. Now we're done with fantasy and sci-fi, so we're going into adult fiction. First off, we have Out by Natsuo Kirino. So this one, we have these women, ends up with a body. They all work in this factory, and they end up with a body, and they decide to make a business out of getting rid of bodies. And it's very gruesome and dark and terrible, but it is really cool, really fun. Obviously like a thriller kind of book. And it is of course also translated. Now we have two by the same author again. So we have Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata, who follows this 38-year-old woman who's been working in a convenience store like all her life, like the last 18 years. And everyone is like, oh, you're not gonna do anything else, or you're not gonna do anything with your life. She's trying to change herself to fit in society, but realizes that maybe that's not what she wants. And it has like so many like reflections about society, etc. One of my favorite books. Also by Sayaka Murata, we have Earthlings, which kind of follows the same themes, where we have this character that thinks that she is an alien from outer space, and that's why she doesn't fit in like the normal norms of society. So we have like the same themes, but then this goes totally more crazy and bizarre than Queen is a Woman, but it's absolutely amazing as well, but super weird. This one is weird, but not as weird as this one. Then we have If I Had Your Face by Frances Cha, which follows this woman that lives in the same building in Korea, and they all like going through different things in their life, and they all kind of support each other in a way, and then we just kind of follow their lives. And yeah, what else to say? It's also like kind of comment on like beauty and stuff in society. So just that. Then we have like another thriller kind of book, which is The Plotters by Eun Soo Kim. And this one we have a main character who is an assassin and been working as an assassin a long time. And then it starts to question like the orders and where they come from, and like how like this assassin society is built. So yeah, it's kind of like a thriller thing with murder. Yay. Then we have Almond by Won Pyong Son, and this one we have a main character who has this brain condition called alexithymia, and it makes it hard for him to feel emotions like fear or anger. But I know like the rep on this has been like told to be not the best, but I do still think that parts of this book was good, because it's really like an emotional book where this character just goes through a lot of hardship. Just a thought to read off reviews, etc. from All Voices Reviews if you can. It's about that basically, and then he goes through a lot of shit. Yay. Then we have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Sevin. I don't know why I couldn't say Gabrielle there, but my voice cracked. This one we follow these two characters that are basically best friends, soulmates, and they decide to make this game, which goes really well. So it's a lot about game making and just generally about friendship over a long time, bonding over certain things, but two very special people. It's like a beautiful story about like friendship and life, etc. Then we have The Woman in the Purple Skirt by Natsuko Imamura, and in this one we have this other woman that actually just stalks the woman in the purple skirt. She's absolutely obsessed with her. Super creepy, but very interesting as well, even though we follow the stalker's point of view. I kind of didn't know this going in, but it is fascinating how it is written, but absolutely terrible. Then we have a book I actually read quite a while ago, but I didn't have a physical copy, which is Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. So this one obviously just follow a main character that she's gonna go to the wedding of like the cousin, I think, isn't it? And then she finds out that he's super rich and they're all crazy rich, and it's really fun. If you like to read about rich people, here you have. It's like fun, like really easy reads, and I should actually continue the rest of the series because I heard they're also really good. Yay. Okay, so we're done with adult fiction and we're going into YA. That is yay. The first one we have is You Reach Sam by Dustin Tao, which is super sad, and it follows a main character who had a boyfriend and they were like super in love and super happy and all that good stuff, and then he died, and then we're just going through her losing him and losing the love of her life, but she's also, you know, very young, so going through this loss is, you know, very hard. And then she can call him and talk to him through the phone even though he's gone, and it's just the saddest thing. I'm getting goosebumps right now because I thought about how sad it was, but it's a really well written book about loss, but just also, you know, sorrow, but the feeling of that it will be okay, you know? Then we have All My Rage by Sabate Hair, which also is super sad, so I don't know what the theme is for this video. But in this one we have two main characters that are going through a lot of hardship. We have our dude main character who mother just died, and then he's trying to save like the inn, not the inn. It's like we rent a room, but it's not called an inn because that's like a fantasy term. But that inns don't exist, you know, like motel, that's the word I wanted. And he's just trying to make this motel live, even though it's basically going bankrupt, and it's really heartbreaking. And then we have his best friend going through a lot of abuse at home, which is also super sad, and both of them is like trying to live through this and support each other, and it's super depressing but full of hope as well in a way. Then we have Kiss and Tell by Abby Corham, which basically follows this boy band which is super popular, and with the struggles they go through. We have a main character who used to date the brother of one of the people in the band, and they broke up, and it's like really public, you know, and then he's starting to have feeling for this other dude. And yeah, a lot of things are brought up of like how it is to be gay, you know, in being known in like a kind of boy band, etc. It's a fun read, but has a lot of deepness to it as well. Then we have Patron Saints of Nothing by Randy Rebay. So in this one we have a main character whose cousin gets killed, and then he decides to travel to the Philippines trying to investigate why. And he never really been in the Philippines before, even though his family's from there. So he starts to like see, you know, where it really comes from, and like learn a lot about like where it comes from, etc. This is also really sad. Why is contemporary so sad? I mean, fantasy is sad also, but you know. Then we have 2 books again by the same author. First we have Starfish by Kami Boehm. This one, our main character is very much abused by her mother and she's trying to get away. So she travels from like her town and like trying to find peace and discover herself, etc. And then she wants to do art and find herself. This is also really sad, dang. But okay. So we have by the same author, we have Summer Blue, which follow our main character. That sister died, and then she goes to Hawaii to live with her grandmother because her mother can't like tackle her right there and then she connects with the people around her there and try to find the lust to live again after losing her sister that she was very close to. And this is also super sad. I'm not even joking. What is the theme of this video now? This is sad in a different way. This is sad because it's also about loss and sorrow, but it's also done really, really well. But obviously, knowing that, you know it's going to be a sad read going into it. Jeez. Then we have a bit more of a happy read. We have XOXO by Axio, which was also heard earlier in the video. This is a K-pop novel where we have a main character going to this school in Korea, and then she goes on to the same school as this K-pop band, and she starts going out with one of them. And it's just very cute and fluffy and much happier than a lot of the reads that I just talked about. Then a random little mystery snuck its way in here, which is All These Bodies by Kendra Blake. So in this one we have this serial killer that has been going to several states and now has landed in their states. And there's this girl that was going with this killer that I now have arrested. And she only wants to talk to our main character for some reason. And she's telling her story and he's like, what? Because she's basically saying vampires are real, and then you're questioning if vampires are real. And that is like kind of the whole book. It is really weird, but I mean, it goes for an interesting read. Next one is Rent a Boyfriend by Gloria Chow, and in this one there's literally what it says. She rents a boyfriend for her parents so that they will think like she has finally gotten like a real proper boyfriend that have like proper credentials, etc. And they might or might not start falling for each other. So yay. Cute fun read. Then we have Meet Cute Diary by Emery Lee, and in this one we have a main character who is trans. He's writing this blog called Meet Cute Diary where he writes like many cute meet cutes between trans people, and it turns out like they are all a lie, and then as this is soon being exposed, he is fake dating this other person to make it seem like they're an example of how their examples of on the blog are real. It's a lot about how you shouldn't be on the internet, but it's like, I guess, growth in that main character in a way as well. But yeah, I know a lot of people love this, and it's like, you know, cute and fun. Yeah. Then we have Anne of Greenville by Mariko Tamaki, and we have a main character that they move to this new town where everyone is like, it's really tiny, there's a lot of white people there, and she's like a bit weird and eccentric, and they don't like this at all. So that is being not looked upon as a good thing. So she's trying to work herself, to be herself in this new town. So that was all the YA contemporary / fiction. And now we only have 2 books left in 2 categories because there's only one book in each category. First we have one graphic novel that I want to mention this time around. You know, I usually, I read a lot of manga, but I don't want to like have all the mangas here. One I wanted to recommend today was Peely of the Woods by May K. Nguyen. And this one, it follows Willow, who just likes to go out to the forest nearby her house, and she meets Pilu, who's like this forest spirit, and it's just very, very cute and fun. It's a lot about like them being friends, and it just has like the sweetest aspects. So it's a lot about like the nature and the beautifulness of the forest, etc. It's a very, very, very sweet graphic novel, so yay. And then for non-fic book, we have one book here, which granted this section should have been so much longer, but life. So we have The Collected Schizophrenias by Esme Wei-Jun Wang, and this one Esme writes about her experiences on being under schizophrenic umbrella, on how it is to get a diagnosis and how it is when you get one, how it is to be institutionalized, how it is represented in the media. It's a lot about like how mental health in general is represented, as well as schizophrenia is represented, in all these different things and aspects. And it's very intelligent, very smart. When you get into it, it is very, very well written. So it's a very smart book and good read. And yeah, that was all the ish 40, a bit over 40 Asian recommendations I had this time around. I think it is a very good selection. It is very weird to reflect upon, but like, how it seems like a lot, but I feel like it's not a lot. And I have so many more on my TBR that I really should get to, so we should see next year of how many there are here. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you found some that sounded interesting to you. Thank you so much for watching this, and you should see me soon in a new video. Leave a rice bowl emoji down below if you enjoyed this, and you should see me soon in a new one. Check out my Patreon down below if you want to support my channel further, and you should see me soon. Bye!